Spencer Rattler starting. New Orleans Saints OTA news and takeaways. Ladies and gentlemen, the Trizzler. Trace. Saints Now by Chat Sports. Speaking of Saints Now and speaking of Chat Sports, I will be joining the show. I will be joining the Trizzler live, 6 p.m. Central Wednesday. That is May 28th, I believe, over on their channel. So be there or be square, ladies and gentlemen. Get over there. Okay, I want the chat to be filled up. I'm going to be reading chat. Trace will be reading chat. We'll be answering all of your questions. It might be 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour, 5 hours, 6 hours. Who the hell knows how long it'll be? All right, this is, the mega powers collide. I'm excited to do it. It's going to be fun. When I did TJ's show, the chat was out of control, and it was a lot of fun, and y'all showed up, so I expect the exact same thing over there. Again, 6 p.m., the Trizzler's channel, Saints Now Chat Sports, with the superstar, the face of the franchise. 6 p.m. Wednesday, May 28th.
Let's kick it off with the quarterback battle, because I know that's what people are interested in finding out information around. Spencer Rattler, today, he took first-team reps during the 7-on-7 drills. And Kellen...
Okay. All that's happening right now is 7-on-7. They're not doing any real contact. The NFL has stipulations and rules for how the offseason training camps can go and how OTAs and how minicamp and how everything is now. So no more 2-a-days, full pads from day one. It's different era, okay? The Rat Daddy he took first team reps and then they're going to rotate. So Shough will take first team reps and then Rattler and then Shough and then Rattler and then Shough and then Deckers and then Rattler. So don't put too much stock into whoever you hear is taking first team reps that day. But reports are that Rattler was lighting it up, went 8 for 8, which, again, training camp stats and all that, don't put a lot of stock into. But the point is that he's out there firing. And the fact is that he is coming out there guns a-blazing, trying to win this job. And, we've said for a while that a lot of the good things about Shough, you can say the same for Rattler, right? Shough's experience, Shough's mature, Shough's gone through this, Shough's gone through that. Say the exact same thing for Rattler. Live arm, athletic, talent, arm talent, same thing for Rattler and vice versa. They're kind of the same guy. The real difference is one is 6'5" and runs a 4.6, but that's about it. These two guys are going to push each other. And I think it's important to remember we're not really rooting for a player. This is not a line in the sand, Rattler fans over here, Shough fans over here. It's not so much that. It's just a good, healthy competition. May the best man win. And as a Saints fan, you're hoping that competition pushes whoever that best man is to be really good and to be better than if there was no competition, which competition harbors and breeds this kind of thing. So I think it's great for the team, whether it's Shough or Rattler, I'll be totally fine with. But even just after day one, you can see okay, this is about to be sweet.
Kellen Moore, he emphasized that for the early stages of OTAs, it's not necessarily super important for the execution stuff. They want to just see the transition from the classroom to the field when it comes to actually putting pieces of the game together. And he did go 8 for 8 today, looked very comfortable, made multiple connections with Chris Olave, which is nice to see. He had very, very limited times to work on getting chemistry with Chris Olave.
I remember last year, Rattler did a interview where he was talking about how great Chris Olave is and how he wanted to get the ball to Chris Olave. And that first game, we took Chris Olave's receiver props, his reception props. We took we just hammered it because we're Rattler's just going to throw it to him. Rattler's obviously going to get him the ball. And it was I think it was the first pass to Olave. He goes down with a concussion, so brutal.
Last year, but it is nice to see Spencer Rattler getting early work with number 12. It's very clear that he was ready for this quarterback competition. He looked comfortable. He looked confident. And he was a player that was looking the part to potentially be the starting quarterback. Now let's talk Tyler Shough here, because this is where things, I'm not going to say should get concerning, but maybe you at least start kind of perking up your ears here. He did take the second team reps for the New Orleans Saints during 7-on-7 drills. He went 7 for 8 today, and he did look like a rookie in the first week of practice, which is totally fine for.
Yeah, not important at all. That's totally fine, totally expected. Again, you're just hoping that you're hoping right now that they're physically not up to snuff. You're hoping that they look like an NFL quarterback. They look like they're getting the job done. They're understanding things. They're processing things. The game's not too fast for them. In 7-on-7, it's hard for it to be. But, yeah, I think this is fine. And I think this is absolutely expected. I mean, you look at both of them, they're quick math, 15 for 16. It is 7-on-7. Again, that's like, you're not going to win a trophy doing that. But, okay. Push each other. Let it rip. Let's see what happens. And I guarantee you, it's the first round of a 15-round prize, heavyweight fight. Tyler Shough's probably going home thinking, I got to be better tomorrow. Spencer Rattler's going home thinking, I got to be better tomorrow. It's every day is the Super Bowl for these guys. They are directly competing. This is as much of a reality show as you can get.
For what it's worth, do not freak out. Do not take this video and run with it and say, oh, my God, Tyler Shough sucks. He's so bad, blah, blah, blah. It's not what I'm saying at all. He went 7 of 8, which is pretty solid. It's actually really good. But in terms of the rookie struggles in the first week of practice, I mean, he was slow with the processing, the decision-making. He just needs to kind of iron some of those stuff out. But, again, the dude hasn't even been.
Yeah, he's a rookie. It's fine. He's a rookie. We saw what he's been doing. He's been at Drago's. He was at some Metairie gas station or something last week. He was eating crawfish. I mean, this guy's had the world tour of Louisiana, the world tour of New Orleans. So, yeah, I bet he was a little slow to process. Guy's eating like 4 or 5 king cakes in the last week. He's had nothing but meat pies. Okay, so yeah, I'd be a little slow to process it too. Okay, how many banana Fosters has he had? How many French 75s has he had? I mean, you can tell in this picture right here, he's sweating it out. I mean, that's a French 75 sweat if I've ever seen it. There's a down in the quarter, Bar Vin is the name of it. And they have I think it's called like a Kentucky 75, but instead of gin, it's a whiskey. So it's whiskey, champagne, whatever the hell else they put in there. It's a good way to ruin your day, I'll tell you that much.
Practicing in the National Football League for 7 days. Let the guy have an opportunity to settle in and show what he's capable of. For what it's worth, he's been known to have a nice deep ball, giggity, and he did connect with Rashid Shaheed on a deep ball today at practice. And Kellen Moore did add context around the quarterback room. I'm not going to tell you to freak out over this. I'm not going to tell you to try and over-analyze and look super deep into this because we have so much time to figure out who the starting quarterback is going to be for New Orleans. Kellen Moore saying it's a rotating deal daily. Spencer Rattler, his turn to start was today to get the first team reps tomorrow, or the next time they have practice, it'll be Tyler Shough. So that's how it's going to be all throughout the offseason. A lot of rotating, going back and forth. It's because the competition is far from over. In New Orleans, we have to see which one of these two players is going to separate themselves as the alpha and as the guy who can command and control the offense and the locker room.
That's always an ad, ladies and gentlemen. That part is the biggest advantage that I gave Rattler going into this early on, is that he did have a chance to do that. He did have a chance to be the guy, to be the starting quarterback, to get the first team reps with these guys. Like, they knew who he is. He's been around the players. He's been there. They've done the travel. They went through all that last year. That does give you something in this kind of a competition. So that is something that a lot of people were talking about. Like the relationships that Rattler built out last year. The fact that these guys know him. They're comfortable with him. He's comfortable talking to them. He knows who they are. He doesn't have to introduce himself. He doesn't have to have that first conversation. I don't care who you are. They're human beings. Tyler Shough entering that locker room, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but Tyler Shough entering that locker room and having that first conversation with Alvin Kamara face-to-face, that is daunting. That is nerve-wracking. Even if it's just butterflies or whatever that you would get, like, he knows who that is. It's a big-time player in this league. Tyler Shough is a rookie. He's been watching Alvin Kamara for a long time. Spencer Rattler has already passed all that. Spencer Rattler has already had those conversations. He's already done that. The fact that Shough has to do that and Rattler doesn't puts Rattler a little bit ahead of the learning curve or a little further along in the race. It's up to Shough now to catch up. And this will not be figured out for a long time. This is not going to get figured out in OTAs. This is not going to get figured out in minicamp. This is not going to get figured out in preseason. This is one of those things where I wouldn't be surprised at all if one of these guys is starting the season and the other one plays, or this is something where it's a very fluid, organic situation that's going to be day by day and week by week. So what I would advise you not to do is constantly swing from whoever's doing good that day or week in practice. Just step back, observe the whole thing, observe it in its entirety, let it play out, take news and notes, and then we'll decide as closer the season gets here.
Obviously, being a quarterback, there is a large aspect of being able to be a good football player, being a good passer of the football, being a good communicator, but there's also the aspect of being a good leader, being the locker room guy, 100%, being the person 100%. Who commands the team that everyone looks to for answers. That is what I want to see one of these two players separate themselves for the next couple of months before we really get into the meat and potatoes of the football season. Now, I want to ask the question, who will start week 1? It's way too early to tell for what it's worth. It's very, very far from over. But I just want to see who you guys think right now. First session OTAs is over. What do you think? Spencer Rattler, Tyler Shough. Just type their initials in the comment section and share your.
How about this? Go on over to the video and type FOTF for Face of the Franchise in this chat. Instead of SR and TS, go type FOTF. How about that?
Your thoughts. Now let's kick things into the trenches, because that's where games are won, in the trenches. Offensive line, this is how the first team shook out.
I like how before OTAs, it was like, yeah, we might move Penning, might not. Yeah, Fuaga might stay at left tackle. Yeah, Banks might play guard. Yeah. And then immediately, like, nope, this is it. This is how we're going to do it. I'm telling you this right now, ladies and gentlemen, this has a legit possibility, a legitimate possibility to be one of the better offensive line units in the NFL. If Trevor can get it figured out at left guard, which I think he can, it's a perfect position for him. He is a mauler. He is great in run blocking. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he had a career year. If Banks and Fuaga are your cornerstone tackles, Penning gets it figured out at left guard. We know what we have in McCoy, which is an elite level center. We know what we have in Cesar Ruiz. This could be a nasty group. Nasty, nasty group. And let's just say they're a top 10 unit. All right. Now, I know we're just going to use easy numbers. Let's say they're a top 10 unit. It is really, 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 really hard to be the worst team in the NFL, or a 3-win team, or a 4-win team, or a 5-win team when you have one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. That's all I'm going to say. So when I see stuff like this, and I see, well, the Saints have the worst roster in the NFL, it's like, I don't know. This is pretty cool. If Penning works out at guard, this is pretty nicey. Then you throw in Alvin Kamara. You throw in Kellen Moore, who we know what he can do with a good offensive line and a good running game. All of a sudden, it's like, damn. You cannot be that bad when you just have that. I don't care what team you are. If you have a good offensive line and a good running game, your floor can only be that low. And it ain't 1-win, 2-win, 3-win.
Today at practice, Kelvin Banks at left tackle, Trevor Penning. He was over Dylan Radins and Nick Saldiveri at left guard. Eric McCoy, no shocker there, at center. Cesar Ruiz at right guard, no surprise there. And then Taliesin Fuaga, he actually moved back to right tackle. Last year in his rookie season, he played the left tackle position, whereas Trevor Penning played the right tackle position. But now you can see it on your screen. Banks and Fuaga are back at their collegiate positions. Kelvin Banks took every single snap, damn near, if not every one of them, at the left tackle position for the Texas Longhorns. Taliesin Fuaga took pretty much every single snap at the right tackle position for the Oregon State Beavers. So for both of those players, they're back at their natural positions. I think that does make some sense. And I will say this for Trevor Penning, because another new position for him. I will say this. It does make me a little bit concerned to try and have him learn another position, because the development of Trevor Penning, I think, has been stunted due to the fact that he's had to go from left tackle to right tackle, now kicking it inside. But for what it's worth, Kellen Moore, he's actually pretty confident in number 70. He's actually said that he's doing an excellent job embracing.
So The offensive line thing is kind of like a Sudoku puzzle, and it's pretty obvious what's going to happen and what's going on. And there is no concern about the development or whatever of Trevor Penning because you didn't pick up his fifth-year option. So it is a prove-it situation. This is not a what's best for Trevor Penning's development. We were done worrying about that 2 years ago, okay? Penning moving to guard is exactly like Mekhi Becton moving from tackle to guard, and Penning has the exact play style for guard. You have all of this investment in Kelvin Banks and Talise Fuaga. Fuaga is in his second year. Banks is in his rookie year. That's where you're worried about the development. So it makes perfect sense to put them at the positions that they're the most comfortable. Well, Fuaga played left tackle last year. Throw that out the door. Why? Because it's a brand new system. It's a brand new offense. So everyone's learning everything brand new anyways. You might as well get them to where they were originally most comfortable, learn the offense there, which is another reason why it made no sense to move Banks to guard. Why would you move Banks to guard in his rookie season, have him learn a brand new offense, have him learn the NFL at a position he's never played before, and then with the plans of moving him back to tackle after the Trevor Penning thing? So, yeah, put everyone where they're comfortable, have them learn all together, all at the same time, at the positions you see them playing long-term. Go from there. That's exactly what they're doing. It makes perfect sense, and I like that they're not messing around. I like that they're not delaying this. They want this to be a strong point of the offense. They are worried about the continuity of the offensive line. They're worried about the communication. So don't screw around with it. Put them where they are. Let it rip.
Facing the move to the interior position. Kellen Moore also praised Trevor Penning for his physicality and the demeanor, and he feels like those are traits that give him an excellent opportunity at the guard position.
True.
And if you think back to Mekhi Becton, he was a player who's traditionally been a tackle, and he's on the plate on the outside of the offensive line. But last year for the Philadelphia Eagles, under Kellen Moore's offense, he transitioned to the interior of the offensive line for the first time in his career, and he actually did really, really well,
great.
had a career year in a lot of departments. And the coaching staff for New Orleans, a lot of those guys, especially on the offensive side of the ball, followed Kellen Moore from Philadelphia. So they have confidence that Trevor Penning can also do the same thing that Mekhi Becton did, kick it from the outside to the interior, and we'll see how things shake out. And hopefully for Trevor Penning, that is a spot that fits for him and that he can stick there, and we don't have to sit here and look back at that pick being an absolute bust. And for what it's worth, I do think in terms of the offensive line and honestly the offense as a whole, Trevor Penning really is the last piece of the puzzle to figure out. Like, he's just the piece that we need to see fit somewhere. Because if you don't have him fit, then you're rolling with Dylan Radins, who you signed in free agency. Maybe it's Nick Saldiveri, who you drafted on day 3 a couple of years ago. I just think with Trevor Penning, the best opportunity for him is to figure it out, put it all together, and be the starting left guard if he wants to be on the field. No matter what, regardless of how things shake out, Kellen Moore and the Saints offense and the Saints coaching staff are going to find a way to put the 5 best players on the offensive line. So for what it's worth, I do think Trevor Penning has an opportunity to start at the interior spot, and we'll have to see what happens. Really quick, I got to tell you about these awesome polos. They're on sale.
There you go. Saints polos on sale for the boys. Then we get some injury news. So, these are the players who will not be playing during OTAs, 7-on-7 and whatnot. We know Taysom. It's amazing how many comments I see here. I think people forget Taysom's hurt. I've seen people who are like, Taysom Hill's a veteran quarterback. Let him play week 1. It's like, brother, his leg was pointing in 14 different directions in like December. He is not available.
They're excited to have him be featured into this offense. Foster Moreau, he's dealing with the knee injury that he suffered in the last couple of minutes of the season last year against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So he will likely miss majority, if not all, of OTAs. Dallin Holker, I'm not totally sure what the injury is there, but he's going to miss OTAs. Jake Haener, we got an injury update around there in a moment, but he's dealing with an oblique strain, so he will miss a majority of OTAs. Quincy Riley, the cornerback that the Saints drafted this year, he is dealing with an ankle injury. He actually had surgery in the offseason. But for what it's worth, these 3 guys, it's believed that they are minor injuries, and they all should be back for training camp. And again, more good news for these 3 players right here specifically. They were all 3 working off to the side today, so they were present. They just weren't necessarily involved with the team stuff, but doing work off to the side nonetheless. And let's talk about Jake Haener here. For Jake Haener specifically, he suffered an oblique.
So I know we do a lot of goofs and gaffes with Jake, but you never want to hear about an injury. Obviously, hate it for him. I don't think it'll be that big of a deal, though, as far as he is concerned, because, yeah, he doesn't get to throw, but he's still around. He's still available, and he should be okay when it comes time to actually compete in minicamp and preseason and all that stuff. So, yeah, it sucks, but as long as he can get back in time for all that, I think it'll be okay for him. I don't think this changes too much. Like, I still think it's the battle between Shough and Rattler. I wouldn't be surprised if Deckers ends up being the 3, or, it is what it is. I think it is what it is. But, yeah, I mean, you hate to see the injury.
Oblique strain, not an oblique tear. So that's good news there. He will likely miss the rest of OTAs, but with the MRI revealing that there's no tear, he actually will not require surgery to be back this season. So he should be able to return from training camp. I think that for Jake Haener, he is a player that has a little bit of an uphill battle. He's kind of the odd man out, if you ask me. The Saints did bring in Hunter Deckers to compete with Jake Haener. I don't think Haener truly is competing to be a QB1.
No,
Kellen Moore said it's an open competition, so maybe Jake Haener can be that guy, but
he's not.
He had an uphill battle already, and the uphill battle just got a little bit steeper for him, considering he's going to be missing OTAs. But, again, he was present. He was there, so that's pretty good. And before we go to this on Kendre Miller, this update here, I want to tell you a couple other players. Do not panic. Do not worry. Tyrann Mathieu, Demario Davis, Alvin Kamara, Taysom Hill, those players were not there at practice today. Demario Davis, Alvin Kamara, I'm not really worried about that.
Yeah, I mean, Alvin, this is all just kind of per usual. This is their schedule. I put literally 0 into
Same
that.
with Tyrann Mathieu. I'm not stressed about it. Alvin Kamara, for what it's worth, never is at this portion of OTAs. He's always doing stuff anyway. He's going to be fine. Don't worry. But that's the attendance. Those are the injury updates. And one cool update around Kendre Miller. A lot of people and a lot of Saints fans, rightfully so, are a little bit frustrated with Kendre Miller's tenure thus far.
This is another Sudoku puzzle, all right? Like, you got to read between the tea leaves, okay? The Devin Neal draft pick is way more of an indicator of their plan in the backfield than anything that's being said. So, yes, I do believe that there is a blank slate on Kendre Miller and all the players, and what has happened previous seasons doesn't really matter, but those same problems that we saw in the previous seasons more than likely will happen again. You don't have trouble picking up a playbook, and you don't have trouble doing all that stuff that we've heard Kendre Miller did last year and the year before, or last year with Clint Kubiak, and all of a sudden you get that fixed now, right? So it is kind of what it is. And you're going to hear me say that with a lot of these players where, it just kind of is what it is. And you got to move forward. And we are moving forward. Alvin Kamara is going to be your starting running back, and I am predicting that Devin Neal will be your backup running back. And that's it. Right? So, same with Jake Haener. It's like, yeah, I mean, because of whatever circumstances and how it all played out, I don't think he's vying for the starting job. He might be vying for a backup job or a third string job or whatever, but I don't think there's any thought to him being the starting quarterback.
And Kellen Moore does not share that same sentiment, because obviously Dennis Allen and the previous coaching staffs, they had issues with Kendre Miller due to injuries, lack of being prepared, whatever was going on. But Kellen Moore is specifically saying for Kendre Miller, the first day, it's a blank slate. Whatever happened in the past does not matter moving forward. So it's a clean opportunity for Kendre Miller to show what he's capable of. Reports are also saying that he looked like he may have slimmed down a little bit. So for what it's worth, I want to see Kendre Miller really put it all together. I want to see him get on the field, because I am a fan of his game, especially when he gets things rolling and he gets the ball moving. I'm a big fan of Kendre Miller. I think he's a very underrated player. Now,
for players like Kendre, you do have you need to take this opportunity and say, okay, I'm getting a good shot here, because all the negative stuff, it's out the window. So yeah, if you do show up prepared, if you do show up with a chip on your shoulder and you do put it all together, this is a great opportunity for him to take that next step. But like I said, if old issues arise, you'll fall down the chart.
And He's just got to be on the field. So, all in all, that's all the news and notes and updates that I got for you here on Saints.
All right, Rattler lights it up. It's an exciting time, man. It's only been a couple days of practice, and we're already, it's a heavyweight prize fight. Shough v. Rattler. What a time to be alive, huh? All right, ladies and gentlemen, get on down in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.